So last time we discussed the artillerist artificer, but when you come down to it, artillerists actually don't do a lot of damage compared to some of the other maximum damage or max DPR builds we've been making. Now, let's look at some of the other ones. We have the armor first. So for the armor, we want to go the lightning launcher because if you compare the other weapon armors get, it's basically just fists. There's no extra damage added on to it, and the bonuses don't apply to damage. You just get buffs such as like temporary hit points and things like that. While the lightning launcher, for one, it's a ranged attack, which means we can add sharpshooter to it, and then it adds that extra d6 damage once per turn with the attacks, and then furthermore, you can, when you get the final perfected armor ability, all attacks by it will mean that the next attack deals an extra d6 lightning, which means basically it's essentially 2d6 per attack, which again isn't great, but considering we almost never get the full d12s when you're using weapons, so it's a way in the right direction. Again, same rules as follows. We're going to level 20 with these builds. We can use magic items with Artificer, which makes things a bit different. But no outside help, no outside items, just the build as it is. For race, we're choosing ASMR. Remember, you can put wherever your ability scores are you want for with Tasha's, which means we can just throw out the charisma. If you're going standard array, you want your dexterity to be the highest, since the attack still uses dexterity, and essentially, we're going to want our dex to be high, because for sharpshooter, we're going to need a high to hit, and then we also want that high bonus damage from our dex bonus. Next highest, so that would be 15, and then boost it up with the +2 to stat from Tasha's, so it's going to start at 17. And then second highest, we're going to have 14 plus our 1 bonus, it's going to be 15 for our intelligence. You probably want to make con your next highest, and then just go to, but you need charisma to be at least 13. So for multi-class purposes, you're going to need to have your 13 to be charisma, and then I think that's the only multi-class requirement, because we just need to have a high dexterity for multi-classing in a fighter, as we normally use. So then just, con, and then we can just kind of just dump strength and wisdom, though there is an option to going one to war cleric, but we'll get out with all of that. So basically, we've talked about what artificers get for self before. We just kind of get their little prestidigit thingamabobs with magical tinkering, and then at second level we get our first infusions. Now again, there's no reason why we can't infuse our node weapon that shoots our lightning launcher. It doesn't say specifically that we can't, so we can add that +1 to hit weapon to it at least, which will be nice. Then we'll also do the +1 focus, just because it'll be nice to, unless we have to resort to spellcasting, just to have that. So we also get spellcasting at this point. This is nice. First level spells, we don't have a ton of options that will help us, since we're resorting mostly just to attacking, but our armor, we'll get those at third level, but our armor spells will be the nicest. Magic Missile, and then at higher levels we get Mirror Image and Shatter, just good ways to deal AoE if necessary, again with lightning bolt later on. So we just have some good options in that regard. Then at 3rd level, we finally get our subclass. We're growing armor, of course, as I mentioned earlier, and we're choosing the infiltrator option, which has not only does it give us stealth, but it also, of course, gives us that special weapon. Now, for 4th level, I think it's probably best just to take Sharpshooter as soon as we can, because that means on a hit, we're now dealing, well, at 5th level, we get extra dex. D6 plus 3 from dex, plus 1 from our infusion, plus 10 from Sharpshooter, which means that is going to be on average from both attacks together, 35, and then plus the extra 3 from the lightning launcher doing another d6 return. So that's 38 on average, which is all right. It's not fantastic. It's not terrible. I mean, it's actually pretty good because that plus 10 really does boost. Now we're going to 6th level. 6th level Artificer gives us more infusions. So we basically get to probably just go with the usual ones, like +1 to shield or armor, just to make ourselves a better character so we don't fall keel over the first time we take damage. We also get tool expertise at 6th level. Again, not completely useful, but it's nice. And also at the point of 5th level, we have 2nd level spells. Again, they're nice. We'll mostly just be dishing out damage. So now we get Flash of Genius at 7th level. This is just a great ability to have. When succeeding on a saving throw when you're allies, it just always feels good. Then we have another ability score improvement. So D&D Beyond recently announced that they wouldn't be supporting unearthed kind of stuff, which means I can't really use the excuse to use Gift of Chromatic Dragon except by saying that it's something that's probably going to be published. So I'm going to put it for now because that's what I do in doing for the other builds. If that changes, forgive me. But right now, we're just going to go Gift of Chromatic Dragon, which means we add a D4 basically to each of our attacks, which is nice. Then we go 9th level. We get another feature which basically just allows us to have 2 more infusions on our armor, which is nice. Not the strongest ability, but it's decent. Then we go 10th level, we get more infusions, and our infusions bump up to +2, which means at this point we have a +2 armor, +2 shield, +2 weapons, all that good stuff. Then now time for 11th level, where we get our spell storing item. There's not a lot of items at this point that are worth spell storing, but it's good to have. If you need invisibility, we can store mirror image and give it to our allies, and then we'll all have that defense. It's just a nice utility, and it's really fun to play for full. Now let's do another damage report. From our extra attack with haste, that's going to put us at 66 damage. And then we get 10 more from our ASMR damage, which is going to put us at 76. So we've about pretty much doubled the damage we were doing at 5th level, which is, again, pretty nice. So now we have our 13th level ability, which is just more spells. We get 4th level. And then 14th, more infusions, which is, again, nice. And we just get even more attunement slots, which you don't necessarily need, but it's just nice to have for infusions. 15th level, we get our final feature, like I mentioned before. It is the ability to deal basically any creature that takes lightning damage from your lightning launcher has disadvantage on attack rolls against you, and the next attack roll against it has advantage. If that hits, the target takes additional d6 lightning damage. So this is great because it makes it so much easier to hit with it, especially with sharpshooter, and it's just gonna it encourages you to attack the same target, and it just really ramps up the damage, which is great. We don't need to go into Artificer anymore for this. Now we're going to Hexblade. Now, if you consider the damage we deal with Hex versus Haste, Haste still wins. So, but we still get our Hexblade throws. Again, it's only one target, but it's the proficiency bonus extra damage, which is still missed at this point. That would be 5. And then we go into Fighter. I might even go into Fighter earlier because just grabbing Archery is going to be really nice, since in terms of landing those hits with Sharpshooter. So we're obviously taking Archery for Fighter. And then again, Fighter extra charge, just great ability. And finally, subclass Echo Knight. It's not really a debate. Again, I've mentioned this in other videos. You can't always guarantee that you're going to deal with that extra damage, but most of the times you are. So I'm just going to count it as being able to do that extra damage, which means that again, our Constitution modifier is lacking. If you're a lot of DMs will have free feed that will allow us to boost our stats a little better, so we can round out our Constitution. And again, this really, anything with Echo, having that Constitution you won't always have. It can be nicer just to not play this in a game that you have standard array or bad stats. But regardless, this is going to be essentially an extra attack per round, which is nice. Then we're going to go one in the War Clerk. This is why we want 13 Wisdom, because what this means is that we can make attacks as a bonus action, which we can't really get anything else because it's not a crossbow, it's not a polearm. There's no other ways to basically allow you to make a bonus action attack. And basically now we have extra attack, so it's 2 attacks, haste attack, so it's 3, echo 4, and then War Clerk 5. Again, this isn't sustainable, but most rounds won't most games won't last longer than a few rounds. You'll spend your first probably putting the echo up anyways, so you won't get the War Clerk on. It works out. So now, time to do a run through of our damage. We deal 5d6 from our base lightning launcher damage. Another 10 damage, because that's 2 for the infusion plus 5. Times 5. 4 for our dex each time, which is going to put us at another 20 damage. Then we have 6 from X-White's Curse. Again, times 5, that's going to be 30 extra damage. And then we have a d6 from Infiltrator each time, which is going to put us at another 5d6. Then we have 5d4 from Chromatic, 50 flat from Sharpshooter, and then an extra 20 from ASMR, an extra d6 from just our base lightning launcher ability, because once a turn we can add that extra damage. And then if we choose a Homunculus Servant as one of our options, that can make an attack for 1d4 plus 6. Adding this all together, it is 194. Pretty good. When you compare it to our other builds, it's like on average probably going to be better than Beastmaster. Again, Echo isn't always sustainable, so it's going to look closer to like 180, or lower, which means that again, or 170. So like again, it probably falls the same as Beastmaster. Question is though, can we do better? Well, that, my friend, has to be seen, but my answer is yes. So again, Echo is a bit of a struggle, but what says we have to go into that? We have, if we go 15 into Armor Artificer, we still have 5 levels left floating. If we go 3 into Thief Rogue, we get Fast Hands, which means that we can use a magic item as a bonus action. This can be one of our magic items, but spell storing item is going to be the best. Armorers don't get Scorching Ray, but we can get this from a background. The Boros Legionnaire background gives us Scorching Ray as a class spell, which means that we can, because it's a 2nd level or lower spell, we can infuse it, which means that whatever intelligence is, which is 2 to 3 with this build, is going to be probably like double that. So it's with our infusion, so it's 6 attacks with Scorching Ray, which is great, because that's probably as long as a combat will last, and we get to make it every bonus action without spending a spell slot. So this means that we can scrap War Cleric as well, because we don't have to make bonus action attacks. So that leaves us with 2 levels floating. We're going to grab Hexblade for 1, and the other one, it doesn't really matter. There's not a lot of, there's pretty much, I don't think there's any like first level abilities that really give, except pretty much you just want to go 1 more into Thief, or 1 more into Artificer, just to get another ability score increase. So we can cap our decks, and we can just boost another set, like Intelligence or whatnot. And because Intelligence is going to be what hit with Scorching Ray, but fortunately we also have that wand, +2 wand. Still getting like 11 to hit, which isn't bad at all. So basically at this point, we make a decision, because are we doing more damage with haste, or are we dealing more damage with hex? Now let's compare. So if we're dealing with haste, we get basically 3 attacks with our lightning. So we're doing 97 base, and then 2d6 from sneak attack, 1d6 extra from the lightning launcher. It's going to put us at 11 more damage on average, which going from that 97 is going to put us at 108 damage. And then we have the Scorching Ray attacks, which is 3 of those, and then each of them you add another Hexblade's Curse to that. So it's 39 more damage, add that to 108, and we're going to get 157. So this isn't great, because we're losing 2 attacks to get 3 moderate ones. Can we do better though? Now let's see if we don't do haste and we instead do hex. Oh, and then you add 20 from the ASMR, which is going to put us at 177 damage, which is actually decent, but again, we got higher from the Echo build. So let's see if we can do better. So from our first two attacks, we were doing 72 damage as a base. We had 11 more from sneak attack and our lightning launcher, so it's going to put us at 83, 170, and if you add the 1d6, 1d4 plus 6 from the homunculus, that's going to be an extra 8. So that'll put us at 185, but that's still lower. 83, and then we can do 20 from ASMR, which is going to put us at 103.